Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Greider. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Greider.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing day. I'm excited to be connecting in with you in the beginning of the year. This is such a powerful time of year as we get to look ahead at 2021 and all that we're looking to build, be, and do. And perhaps you have added to the list of things you're wanting to do this year is to bring your book forward. Perhaps it's to go deeper, maybe live in a more purposeful, powerful way. It's good to take a moment, just think about what have you put on your list of things you are wanting to bring forward in your life this way. Maybe it's being more in your life, being more intentional, more purposeful, building resilience, bringing certain projects forward. I find many people talk about someday. Be careful of that language. Someday, I want to bring my book forward, or I want to run a marathon, whatever it may be, someday. But the danger of someday is it's always someday. But if we can commit to moving forward to this is the year and really start taking the steps to bring it forward, it's amazing what can happen. So if you find yourself saying someday, I'm going to encourage you to really see what day, when, can you bring that forward? What steps can you take to bring those things forward that matter most to you? So I want to challenge you a little bit in that and really caution you about that someday language. We have an amazing guest joining us today who is committed and passionate about helping us live our soul's purpose. And she believes big souls make big promises. And she has released an amazing book that became a #1 international best-selling book in multiple countries, multiple categories. And it's helping people understand their big soul's promise and how to step into that and through some of those things that can stop us. So she's an amazing expert. I'm just thrilled to have her joining us today and can't wait to introduce her and have you lean into all the wisdom and insight she's going to share with us, not just about our soul's journey, but even her journey as an author bringing such a transformational message forward. And what was that like? Because perhaps you're having a transformational message you are being called to bring forward as well. Because I know it is not an accident that you are listening today. I know there is something here for you by the very nature that you have tuned in. So let's take a moment to center, take a breath. Slow down just for a moment. Beautiful. Allow us to pour into you, to support and uplift you. You get to receive and be supported on your journey. And the best way to do that is to be fully present, mind, body, soul, and spirit, and be open to all that is here for you. And I encourage you to even take notes during our conversation, because you may have that aha moment, that idea that speaks to you to help support you in bringing your soul's purpose forward, bringing your message forward, bringing your book forward. You want to capture those moments, those insights as they come, because it's so easy to get distracted and move on to the next thing and forget that seed, that insight that can support you on your journey. So be open, looking forward with anticipation to all that will be shared with you today. And with that, I'm going to introduce our amazing, soulful, powerful guest, Shauna Cuch. She was helping me with her last name, and I had it before we started. But Shauna, I'm going to have you help me one more time. So your last name again?
Shauna Cuch.
Cuch. Thank you. I had it too. So Shauna Cuch.
Yes, you did.
So excited to have you joining us. She is the mother of 11 children, and she's known for her ability to deepen your awareness to help heal multiple generation relationships. She was raised in an oppressive, polygamous group and faced many, many challenges growing up. And as one of 4 wives, that also put her in situations where she faced a lot of different challenges. She is now a sought after healer, an award winning entrepreneur, a #1 international best selling author, and has released her first book, and there's more to come. So we're excited about that. Her first book, which is Big Souls Make Big Promises. And she is passionate about helping big souls fully step into their big promises so they can have the impact they are called to have for multiple generations. Please lean in and warmly welcome our powerful Shauna Cuch to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. This has been such a journey, and so grateful for you to be a part of that journey with me. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of challenges in putting myself out there. So thank you so much for this opportunity for sharing my message.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been such a pleasure. And I know every conversation that we've had, I have always felt a deepening of myself and a stretch and expansion and growth. So it's been just a complete honor to be on this journey with you. We were so proud to support you in bringing your book forward and all the success it's had. And can't wait to see where all of it will go as it reaches more and more hearts and lives. But I'd love for you to share a little bit about why. Why did you decide now is the time to bring my message forward in a book? What led you to say now is the time and to take the steps to do it?
Well, the desire deep in my heart was to share with others what the amazing miracles I had happen to me through this method of healing, because here I am in my 60s. I'm 68 years old, and just uncovering the unconscious beliefs and the dysfunction that has been passed down to me, that I'm living my life that's not really my life. And so being able to free myself of the burdens of this ancestral baggage and parental imprints has been so transformational. And I just wanted to gift it to others at an earlier age than in your 60s, to be able to live a full life of your dreams instead of having this darker shadow side of us running our lives and we don't even realize it. So it's I'm very passionate to open this up and help people understand that there is another way rather than struggling through these blocks and the resistance we have. So yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I love that you were led to bring it forward in a book that people can read, they can interact with, they can digest. I found as I was reading your book, it was so impactful and it stretched how I thought about things that I found I would read. And part of me didn't want to put it down because I kept wanting to go into the next section, but also I wanted to have a moment to digest what you had shared and to process it, because I found it's such a powerful book and it's very, very impactful. And it opened up my mind and heart in ways that I hadn't thought about things before. So thank you on a personal level for bringing your book forward. And I know it will have a powerful impact on every person who leans in to read it. So I appreciate you being willing to open up your life and your information and make it so accessible for so many people. And I'm curious, what led you to not have it be someday I want to write a book, but to do it today? Is it that you wanted people to have the information before their 60s so they can have that difference? Is that part of what motivated you? Was there anything else? that helped you make that shift?
Well, the interesting part about that is I had it written a year ago with just a few little details, and I felt called to write this. I felt deep in my soul a calling to write it, but I found myself procrastinating getting to it. And I, after a year of talking about it and saying, I've written a book, and I realized that I had these residues of fear left over from my experience as a child to putting myself out there. And so as soon as I saw the pattern, which is what I teach in this work, is as soon as you see a pattern, then call it forth and work through it and lean into it. So that's what I did. I just said, okay, I can see that I'm hiding, and I could see other areas in my life where I've been hiding my work instead of putting it out there. And it was really unconscious. I had no idea that that was unconsciously what I was doing. So I really just had to say, okay, I'm signing on the dotted line of when this commitment is to get this book out, and I'm doing it. So it was just a deep soul calling for me, and I feel so grateful, and I feel so good that I fulfilled a promise that I feel like I made to get this book out.
Oh, so powerful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that, and being so candid and real with us on what that journey was like, and that you were even unconsciously hiding. It was, I'd written a book, you were talking about it, but not necessarily bringing it forward. And once you recognize that, your willingness to commit a date and bring it forward is a huge gift to all of us. So I want to thank you for leaning in, for saying yes, for bringing it forward. And we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And as we do that, listeners, I want you to take a moment and just think about what she shared. And are there some things perhaps we're talking about, but we're not really taking the steps and committing to bring it forward? And it's just a question with curiosity. And we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just a moment.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you found that moment of reflection helpful to just kind of feel in and discover, are there things that perhaps every year are on the someday list or on New Year's resolutions, if you do New Year's resolutions, or we talk a lot about someday or I'm doing it, but we haven't really brought it forward. It's almost like we like thinking about it, talking about it, and that isn't quite enough to making it happen and taking the steps forward. So if you noticed something like that, I love how Shauna was sharing that sometimes we have these unconscious things that are holding us back, and it can be fear that can hold us back. And we just don't even realize it because we feel like we're talking about it is doing it. And sometimes I think our mind even agrees, and that isn't necessarily what is going to bring it forward. So before I get into a deeper conversation about some of her author's journey, I thought, Shauna, since you're such an expert in this, I know you suggested that you walked your talk about leaning in and facing that fear. Do you have a tip or a piece of advice if someone discovered that right now when they took a moment to ask those questions? Do you have a piece of advice, a tip, something that can help them move it forward and move through what might be holding them back?
Yes, I know that my issue was I've lived such a life of so many different shifts and different parts of my life. I just to begin with, I was just like, where do I start? How do I possibly put it in words? And so I really had to just tell myself I'm committed to blocking a certain amount of time each day, or maybe certain days of the week, and I'm going to just write and just keep writing and just let it flow naturally, and then go back and read it after. And especially when I entered into this area of trauma, where I was working through that, it just really helped me to face into that, lean into it, and work through it through the writing. So it was just being committed. Are you really committed, and what are you committed to? You committed to that message. If you're committed to the message, then you'll be committed to putting that message out there, no matter what obstacles, and to just take sections of it and go over it and not overwhelm yourself. Just take, just let the words flow, and then go back and take a little bit at a time and go over it and see how it feels. Deep inside that, where that calling is, that is, does this feel right? Is this how I want to come across? So that's what I had to do.
Beautiful. So I love what you shared. Thank you. And in using the writing of your book as an example. So I love this committing and just creating that space and that commitment and expectation of yourself during the process, that you built that into your calendar. You took that step and that you committed to writing. And I also like how you use the writing, especially when facing some of the trauma, that you leaned in and allowed the writing to give voice to that and to express it. And I really love how you separated the writing from structure and from reviewing or judgment or anything like that. The writing and the creation process, honoring that, creating it, it's a different step to go back and review it and then decide, is this how I want it to flow? Is this how I want it to look and feel? I love how you separated those pieces, and really, to me, you're able to honor both. Anything else you'd add to that?
Well, I think it's really taking the judgment off of how you're going to sound, or what other people are going to think, or any of those things that stifle you or inhibit your writing, to just feel the flow and set your intention before you start writing. Just visualize this beautiful book and set your intention that you're just going to flow and allow your energy to flow, and not worry about how people are going to receive it, because that's really not your business. It's only my business is my commitment to write it, and how others receive it is their business. Right?
Powerful. It's so true. And we can get caught up in that worry and hold back so much that really is being called to be brought forward. Thank you for that important reminder. I'm curious, as you shared about visualizing this beautiful book coming forward, did you visualize a cover, an energy, a feel? What did you visualize as you were bringing the transformation, the healing? What's the vision that helped you bring your beautiful book forward?
Well, I have to admit, first I put it in a constellation. I put it in the book in there just to get the energy of the book and get the feel of the book and how I wanted it to feel. And then I also, I happened to, my mentor was inspired to put, she didn't even realize what she was doing. She put the seed of life from the flower of life at the beginning of each chapter. And what inspired her to do that, I don't know, I was reading a book called Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life, and so I knew the power of that, and so I was very excited to use that in the book cover. So I just visualized just something really beautiful out of that seed of life, and knew that it had a lot of meaning because the method I use is a very ancient method. Mm-hmm. And so I was just visualizing this beautiful royal look with gold, mm-hmm. with this symbol, and it just came to life. I mean, it was just amazing. It didn't take, not only, it just took form, and mm-hmm. It was exactly what I wanted. I'm not an artist. I don't have the ability to put something like that together, but in my mind, I knew I wanted something that involved that beautiful symbol of the seed of life and the creation. The flower of life is the creation, the symbol of creation. So I was pretty excited about how it turned out.
I love that. I love that. So those of you who have a copy of her book are looking for it. Now you know some of the power and the meaning and the story behind the cover, which I always think is really neat to know, because I know authors put a lot of thought and reflection into the look and feel of how their book is contained, how it is held, how it is shared out with the world. And that's what that cover does. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So as you wrote the book and then you moved forward to publishing it, and then you decided to do a best-selling campaign. So you made those decisions along in the process. I'm curious why you decided to do a best-selling campaign where there's that visibility and all of that goes with it, and watching the markets and doing that sort of thing versus publishing it. I'm just curious why that became important to you.
Well, the most important thing to me is getting the word out. It wasn't to make money, or it wasn't to be a famous author. It was really to get that message out in the best way that I could. And I also, in doing this book, realized I have quite a few more little books to follow, and that's why I have volume 1 on it, because these little morsels, or these little gems of information and wisdom are just, I feel like, coming forth. It's just like, I feel like it's just growing. Mm-hmm. And I just thought this was just an amazing way to to be able to touch more people. And also, when the morning that I launched the book, I did a special ceremony. I had my crystal bowls, and I spoke to my guides, and I said, if you want my message out there, then I request that you do your job in getting it out into the people that would be inspired by my message. And so I was pretty shocked at the success I had, but then it wasn't credit to me, it was credit to my guides. They did what I asked, right?
I love it. I love it. Well, and that willingness that you one asked for help and support. We don't always remember to do that. And that you were so consistent with wanting it to serve and reach the people that it's called to reach, and to find ways to do that, to get the message out. And it to me feels like it also is paving the way for these additional books that are coming. So this is opening up those pathways and those doors and those connections. So all that is yet to come as a pathway to follow and to build upon. and touch even more people. So I'm curious, as you look back on the journey, is there something that surprised you that's coming to your heart and mind, either in the writing process, the publishing, the launching? Was there something that surprised you on the journey?
Well, I was actually very surprised because it was only the next day after I launched it, I received a call from an acquaintance that I knew that had asked about it, but wasn't really enrolled in doing the constellations. And the day after, she read my book the day it came out, and the next day she called me and said, "When is your next constellation?" And
Mm.
I was quite taken back at how that impacted her, and how she drove 8 hours from Phoenix, Arizona to St. George, Utah, just to go to my next workshop. That's how committed she was after reading my book. And I
Wow.
was quite surprised it had that big of an impact on somebody who before that had not really shown an interest. And so I felt good that the book did do the job of engaging her in whatever she needed in her own life that would she would find resolve in. So we did her constellation. It was absolutely amazing and beautiful. So I was
Mm.
so grateful for that. It actually just recently happened, that I did the constellation. So yeah,
Mm.
that was huge for me.
Love that. I love that. And how exciting in such a short amount of time to have impacted someone so powerfully in that way. I celebrate that. And for those of you who are wondering what the constellation, if you're not quite sure what she's referring to, one, you can get detailed explanations in her book that will let you know how you can reach out and get a copy. But high level, that's the healing work that she does is in and through constellations and family constellations that she does. So that's um, part of the process that she uses to help bring healing and awareness. Is that a fair summary, or would you add to that?
Yes, it's when a lot of people that do the work, they're so blown away, they're so amazed at the magic that they just experienced in the circle, and so they want to tell the relatives, and they say, "Oh, I'm going to tell my family and tell everybody," and then the next time I talk to them, they say, "Oh, I just had such a hard time explaining all the unseen and the healing that takes place in the unconscious mind," and so I realized that there was a need to get this book done to really give a fair example and process, give an explanation to the process in ways that people could understand better what the benefits are, and whether it was something that would serve them or not. And the fact that it's not just healing, it's also information and truth. I've done a lot of businesses. I've done companies with lawsuits that needed resolved. I've done for organizations of how to organize something, because anything you do on the energetic level will show up on the physical level. So it's so amazing to get the work done in the energetic level, so that you don't have to work so hard. It's already in place. It's already, things just fall into place. And you don't have all that work and all that resistance going on with what you're trying to do. So, and the same thing with your life. You run a plot. I'll have my daughter call me up and say, "Mom, I have this pattern that keeps showing up. Can you do a constellation?" Instead of working so hard against the walls and the blocks that come up, she just calls me up. "Let's get this done." So it's pretty exciting.
I love it. I love it. And so the constellations work is a way to do that. And I love that we don't have to work so hard and come up against all these walls and blocks. We can actually get supported in resolving. So I love that. Thank you for the work that you do, your willingness to share today with us. And I just want to see if there's any final piece of advice or tip you have for our listeners who are looking to bring their book forward, a suggestion or an idea to help them do that.
Well, I would say sign up with you and get your support in it, because you have all the answers. You have all this. You take the stress out of it. You're constantly giving me information and things that I had no idea I needed to do. You coached me through that launch day and let me know it was going to be, how to plan it. And it was well worth what I paid for the services, because it would be sitting here in my house and nobody would know about it because I wouldn't have known what to do or how to get it out there. So that's my biggest advice is, just put the money out there. It's worth it. It's worth it to get the work done. I just, I can't say enough how amazing you've been to give me the support and hook me up to people that really appreciated it and reviewed it and get those kind of reviews back. And actually, I've already got somebody in Europe, in France, that wants me to come and do constellations in France and Switzerland just because you hooked me up to her, connected me with her to get a review. And she said she felt the energy of my book. It was so profound and had an effect on her. She just wants me to come there and share it with her community. So that all came because I signed up with you.
Wow. Well, thank you. I am honored and taking in the high compliment that you just paid us. And I'm just so glad that was your experience and continues to be your experience. It's just been an honor and a privilege to work with you and to bring your powerful book to so many people. And I'm so excited some of these ripples that are already happening and can't wait to see what will come next. And listeners, if you are interested in having a conversation, I'm always happy to do that and to answer questions, to point you in a good direction. A great way to set up a time is meetwithrebecca.com. That takes you directly to my calendar and we can have a conversation. Meetwithrebecca.com, and I'll be happy to support you on your journey and seeing what the right path is for you so that you can bring your book forward powerfully. And it's not sitting in your house in a someday category, but really coming forward. We'd love to be part of that journey. And with that, we are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do that, I want to encourage you to really think about what are some things on your heart that are being called to be brought forward. Maybe some questions you have for Shauna, maybe some questions you have for me. Take a moment and just gather that information and see what it is that's laid on your heart to discover so that you can bring your message forward, bring your calling forward. And we'll look forward to continuing our conversation in just a moment.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Greider's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that moment to just gather some of your thoughts and some of your questions. I have found sometimes there is such a power in having different questions to ask and shifting the questions, being open, being curious. I have found sometimes I'm able to get different information because I started to explore and ask different questions. And that's what actually helped me move forward, was being open and figuring out, what is it that I need to know? What am I looking to understand so I can move forward in a powerful, purposeful, and intentional way? And I thought this is a perfect time of year that we're talking with our amazing Shauna. And Shauna, I'd love for you to share, a tip, a piece of advice as we're looking, now we have these things we're thinking of bringing forward. It's the beginning of the year. We have this whole beautiful 2021 ahead of us. What is it that might help us? Do you have a tip, a way that we can move forward, lean in, just a final tip to support us on our journey?
Yes. As a shadow expert, where I guide you, my specialty is guiding you into facing your unconscious fears and limiting beliefs and patterns with ease and grace. So I encourage people to start the year out keeping a shadow journal. So I encourage people to turn their journal around and go on the back of the journal and track what's going on in their unconscious. We only know 10% of who we are, and the other 90% is unconscious behaviors and soul wounds that are communicating to other soul wounds. And so we don't realize we're creating what's outside ourselves. So what I suggest, and I have this on my website, you can get a free shadow journal, but what I suggest is to track your triggers in your journals and your reoccurring dialogues that you keep running on that rat wheel, doing over and over and over. You track them all and start being conscious of your patterns, being conscious of your words, being conscious of your behaviors, and instead of putting them out there, it's so powerful to be able to actually do something different instead of the same thing over and over, wanting change, but you're not going within to make the change. So this is my expertise advice to keep your shadow journal, and I'd love to assist you in that.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for giving us a tool to help us track these things and become a little bit more aware of some of those patterns, because if we're not aware, it's really hard to shift them. But when we can start to be aware of them, we can start to shift how we engage in them and shift the steps of the dance to be a different dance, to move in a different direction. So I'd love for you to share, what are some things we can look forward to? I know it sounds like you have some books that are in your heart to bring forward. I know you do constellation work. What are some things we can look forward to and watch for in the new year?
Well, the most important thing I have going immediately is my course called Relationship Alchemy. And that is where I help you go deep into your own relationship, and it's a deep dive into self-love, because my belief is your divine is through working through your shadow, not going to the light, not just going to the light, but really going into the shadow. In fact, my memoirs that I'm writing, the title of it is The Day I Met My Dark Side, The Pathway to My Divine. So that's what I suggest is going to, that's what I help people do in my Relationship Alchemy, is actually go do the constellation work and go into that unconscious field and be able to see all that's going on. Also, it follows up with a 7-week class every week where I address all the things that I see in the circle that cause dysfunction in relationships and families and in workplaces. So I really address all the things that I'm dealing with all the time and that need the healing, so that we can restructure and have a foundation of integrity with self-respect and self-love. And so that is coming up soon. And then like that, I'm writing that book. I'm writing my memoirs. And I'm also doing another volume on the book that I just wrote. I'll be doing a volume on that, where I have tapping, so that I have the patterns of how you do your tapping for different illnesses or different things that are going on in your body. It's all about messages of the body.
Oh, that's so exciting that you're bringing so much forward to help on so many levels. So I'd like for you to share a few. Thank you for sharing with us and letting us know what's coming and all the different things that we can look forward to and reach out to you about. One, where can we get your book? I'd love for people to know the full title of your book again and where they can get it.
It's Big Souls Make Big Promises, and you can get it either order it on my website, or you can go to Amazon and order it on there. And my website is journeyintotheheart.net. So it's not .com, it's journeyintotheheart.net.
Perfect.
And it's called Big Souls Make Big Promises.
Perfect. And is there a way that they could get on your list or follow you, because you have all these wonderful things unfolding? Is there a way they can do that? Is it best to follow you on social media, or is there a way on your site to sign up?
Well, I have a page, Journey into the Heart, on Facebook, but my website is very functional. I actually encourage you to join our conscious community, especially if you've had this work done, because then we have a forum where you can promote yourself. And the first 3 months are free. So be a part of our conscious community, where we are all about raising the consciousness of the earth and being able to share your message on the forum on my website. So that's another place you can connect with me. And Instagram, I'm Journey into the Heart 7 on Instagram.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing your contact information, sharing some of your author's journey with us. And again, I just celebrate all that you are bringing forward and bringing to the world. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Any personal notes can go Shauna at journeyintotheheart.net. And I'd love to answer your questions.
Perfect. Thank you. And our listeners, I want to thank you for joining us today and leaning in. I hope that this episode has been uplifting and supportive of you, and giving you some great tips of things that you can do, steps you can take to start moving those things forward that matter most to you. And those of you who have a book that is on your heart to bring forward, I hope you got some great tips and ideas of ways that you can bring that forward. I hope you have an amazing week, and we will look forward to talking to you next time as we continue conversations with best-selling authors that pull back the curtains and share what the journey is really like. Have an amazing week, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall-Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.